Well, here we go. The magic trail of crumbs to the forest began all over again. This Dorothy Chandler Pavilion in downtown LA, it's like a fortress. And there were a bunch of people, mostly freaks, gathered around outside trying to figure out how can we get in. We don't have a ticket. And I had learned from many previous concerts, many involving Miss X, there's a way to get into any concert. But this Dorothy Chandler Pavilion is like a fortress. It seemed impregnable. But at some point, one of these fellow riffraff like me mentioned, well, you know, there might be a possibility. There's this door. It's not just a concert hall. It's a whole office building. And this person, she said, well, I think that door might be open. No one had the gall, the audacity to go in that door and see what happened, because you're just walking into a labyrinth of offices. But that was the only card I had to play, so I walk in the door, and here we're back to man against the law again. Probably some security guards roaming around the building, don't know. If I got caught in there, who knows, there might be some bad consequences. But I'm back in this heroic adventure with this Miss X has sort of been rekindled from these long dormant ashes. There's a little beat in my heart again, very faint, but there's a little faint beat to that AMOR heart again. So here I am following the crumbs, and I'm weaving my way through this labyrinth of hallways and offices, and treading very softly because I don't want to make any noise, don't want to call any attention to myself if there are any security guards roaming the halls. And wouldn't you know, at some point I begin to hear some noise, and I realize I'm getting a little closer to where the stage is, to where the actual concert hall portion of this office complex is. Just as I come around this final corner, I'm entering the stage from the rear, and out there somewhere in the blackness is the audience. I'm walking past stagehands and all this, just as Miss X is finishing her show to thunderous applause. She's walking backstage, and we meet face to face. And this had been a couple years now since those previous two, where I asked her to marry me and meet her in the dressing room and all that. A couple of years had passed by. And here I am. Here she is. And I just say, geez, great show. I hadn't seen any of the show. But again, what are you going to say? I was flabbergasted that I was face to face with her. As we say, the one criterion of AMOR is physical presence. I had weaved my way through this labyrinth. It's just like the Greek myth, going through the labyrinth. And she goes back for an encore. It was only a fleeting thing, but the moral is, I thought that the story was over. For a couple of years, I thought the story was over. I tried going the path of Ishmael with the wife, with the facsimile of Miss X, and that predictably was less than fulfilling. So I take a chance. What have I got to lose? Go down there, and I'm face to face with her again. It tells me that the story's not over until the source decides it's over. That's the moral for all of us. When you're in one of these dips, this doesn't look like much of a dip, but it may be a deep, deep dip, and it may be a long, long, long dip for years of hopeless AMOR. Hopeless, impossible. It's over, so it seems. But it's not over until the source decides it's over.